Hey everybody, it's Peter, and this is the 2025, get this, Yamaha Wolverine RMAX4 1000 LE, but it doesn't say LE anywhere on it, it's the limited. That's a huge name for a really practical unit, and this might be one of the most practical, diverse kind of side-by-sides that I've seen yet here in late 2024, early 2025. It has a dump bed, it has 4 proper seats, it's got a ton of ground clearance, a really interesting suspension, and a whole bunch of features that just don't pop out at you when you kind of walk through the dealership. So what we're going to do in this review is show you some of the things that the spec sheet doesn't show you. So by all means, hop on the Yamaha website and check it out there. If you want to check it out on McLean's website, that's linked in the description of this video. McLean Sports gives me complete access to their entire product line, including the willingness to come back to this if I don't answer your questions. So do me a favor, if you're interested in any of this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to grow this out. The more subscribers, the more views, the more everything we get, the more I can do this, the more in-depth I can go with you and give you the information. So that's what we're doing here. Let's start with, let's just start with the front, and we'll start talking about some of the unique pieces of this. All right, it shows a great camera angle for you, but a bad one for me. The sun's right behind there, so excuse my squinting, but let's talk quickly about why I think this is so practical. Well, first of all, we all know that basically side-by-sides, anything off-road, any vehicle really, has gone up in price. These aren't super cheap, and this one in particular, top-of-the-line features, is not super cheap. So when you spend money on something like this, you want something that can do it all. So what does do it all mean? Well, first of all, there is an RMAX that kind of ends back here, and it's a 4-seater, and that can be great for a whole lot of people because it has unique seats that can kind of fold forward and give you a small bed in the back with still 2 people in there. Really practical unit, nice short wheelbase, and that makes a lot of sense. This one is different. This one gives you 4 permanent seats. It gives you a bed here permanently that is a dump bed. It gives you some towing capacity. It gives you really, in my opinion, a better seating environment, and it gives you a whole bunch of options. And what that does, and I didn't even mention the other thing it does, is it has an adjustable suspension that I think is going to be great for the trails and kind of gives you that sporty ride you want. So if you want to go full out, you know, jumping in the woods or jumping over sand dunes, something like that, sure, there are probably better models. But if you want something that is sporty on your trail system, like it would be here in New Brunswick, or sporty on whatever land you're using it on, this thing has that. And we'll talk about the suspension in a second. If you want something that can carry 4 people comfortably, this thing does that well. If you want something that can do some work, whether it's stuff in the bed or towing, it can also do that, and it does all of those things quite well. And that's what makes it really unique, is usually there's a major compromise somewhere, and this one doesn't have some of those major compromises. It does include a few extra things that I think are super handy that you're going to see in more and more units out there. So let's start with the front. We'll work our way back, and we're going to show you seating, interior. There's a lot of stuff to see inside, so stay with me for that, and we'll go through it as quickly as I can. I know this is probably going to be a longer video. There's just a lot to show that I don't think the other videos are showing, so stay with me. If you want to pause it now, grab yourself a beverage and some popcorn or something. Let's get going. So taking a look at the front here, you see a lot of things that I really like for a sporty unit. Forgetting the utility for a second. First of all, you've got the really thick, strong A-arms here. Obviously the centralized weight. Most of the modern, most but not all, but most of the modern, and certainly in this price class, most of the modern side-by-sides are putting that weight very well centralized. So you've got it centralized. The wheels are pretty much the furthest thing forward other than this solid shield here. You've got some metal tow hooks there. You've got the tow, or you've got the oh boy, the winch right out front there wasn't what I was ready to say. Headlights are also really great on this. We're going to show you them in a second. But you've got the 30-inch wheels. I've got my cheat sheet in front of me because I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, you've got 11 inches of ground clearance here. You can see it gives you that ground clearance throughout because it's got those angled A-arms there. That's kind of standard for this upper end class, but not standard on every other unit, certainly in the lower class. But I want to talk about the suspension. 11 inches of ground clearance, but you have a massive 14.2 inches of travel out front. You have 16.9 inches of travel out back, and that's the kind of thing that you don't typically see on a working unit. You tend to see that on a sport unit. Now, are they adjustable? Yeah, they are, which is amazing. So we've reviewed in the past other piggyback shocks that with adjustable suspension. That's what this has. So I'm going to read to you what they're called. Independent double wishbone with anti-sway bar. So again, that's sport component. Fox IQS piggyback shocks, 14.2 inches of travel, and the same thing, independent double wishbone with anti-sway bar Fox IQS piggyback shocks with 16.9 inches of travel in the rear. Why do I mention that? Well, the IQS series here is a performance shock that is electronically adjustable, and I don't know about you, but I like adjustable suspension, but a lot of these things are set it and forget it. Probably some of you have had adjustable suspension for years and never tweaked it. The other day I reviewed a unit with 24 clicks of compression adjustment. Do you need 24 if you want adjustable suspension? This isn't something like a motorcycle you're taking to the racetrack to find that extra half second of lap time. This is something you want to adjust, and it's got 3 settings inside to adjust that suspension electronically. So you press a button, the suspension adjusts, you can make it softer, you can make it firmer, you can tailor to the ride you want, and that's a really key piece. Along with these 30-inch tires that are actually very big. They may not look big on camera, but they're very big tires, and the same size tire all the way around, which is what I like, which means if you wanted to take a spare somewhere, you're only needing one. So lots of good stuff coming up front. Let's just show you the lights while we're here. I'll start it up for you for a second. I am mic'd. The vehicle is not, whoops. The vehicle is not, so we'll start it up there. Headlights here, you do have a daytime running light up here. I don't know if you can see that coming on in your camera view there. We're gonna go into the low beams there. Low beams are projector beam headlights right there, very automotive-like, and then we can go to the high beams as well if we go one level more. Same thing right there. So again, I'll come back to the camera, see if you can see that really well. Nope, I am not on the right aim to see all that stuff. They are very bright lights. If I kind of lower it down, sharp cutoff lights, which are gonna give you a good view. If you want to put extra lights on this thing, obviously you can, but at least you're starting off with a very good set of lights out front. Let's move to the side, look at a couple things. We're gonna take a look at the practicality in the back, and then we're heading inside where there's a lot of features to show you. So taking a look at the side here, first of all, I'm about 6 feet tall, so you can see sort of standing underneath it, you've got some height there, and you know, proportional 6-footer if you're wondering how big my legs and all that are. It doesn't matter as much for this as it would for a motorcycle. Couple interesting design details here. First of all, you've got these like 3-piece doors. They're solid doors, they feel good to close, but there are no outside door handles on these, and honestly, I'm not sure you need them on this design. It is very low down here, so we'll talk about that. It is gonna be easier to clean because you have no mechanism in there that's gonna have all the dirt and mud in there. So design detail that may be controversial, but I'm kind of on board with it. Doesn't really bother me that much. There's a good solid feeling handle inside. The other thing is we talked about that 11 inches of ground clearance. Well, my size 11 shoes are close to a foot tall. So you can see you actually have, for most of this unit, far more ground clearance than that. And that's sometimes one of the concerns when you have an extended wheelbase. This is not a monstrosity, huge, long unit, but it is longer than other units. So you want that ground clearance to help you go around stuff, and you've certainly got it where you need it down here in the middle of the unit. And then other things that are kind of cool, these doors, like I mentioned, they are quite low down here. We're gonna show you that compared to the seat. But you do have these solid, these are plastic covered, but they're steel reinforced. There's a steel bar in there. And you do have that, which is gonna keep your shoulders in there. So if you're riding around aggressively, your shoulders are gonna stay in this unit. And of course, the roof here is standard, and I believe this windshield is also standard. I did not check my specs, and I did not double check the one inside if it has that, but I'm pretty sure that windshield is standard. Obviously, it's removable if you didn't want it, and easy, nice to have if you do want it. So let's take a look at the back over here. We're gonna talk about the practicality of this, and of course, first thing I'm gonna show you is a single lift on either side. It is a damped assisted tailgate there, so you've got a lot of capability. Let's talk about some of the capability and unique features in the back. So taking a look at the back here, you can see it really is quite tall compared to some other units as well. That's gonna help with give you that sort of departure angle by moving everything kind of up a little bit taller. I don't think it's that hard to load or anything like that, but it's something to keep in mind. Of course, the tailgate comes down easily like that. We're gonna show you in here in a second, but what I wanna do first is while we're here, I wanna show you this little piece right here. You probably can't see it on your camera or on the camera right now. We'll zoom into it a little bit later. That is a backup camera. So whether your tailgate is up or whether your tailgate is down, you have a backup camera that can see behind you. And that to me is a really crucial thing, because especially these 4-seaters, these a little bit extra length, it is impossible to see behind you. And if you ever try to park this in your garage next to your kid's bike or something like that, it's really nice to have a backup camera. We're so used to parking with them in our vehicles. Nice to have one on the back here. So we'll show you some of the details here. There's also some towing capacity. 600 pounds is what the bed can hold, so that's plenty of weight for the size of what you've got here. Let's zoom into the bed. We'll work our way down, show you a couple of things, and then we're heading inside. So taking a look at the bed here, this is a wide angle view. It's gonna skew the view a little bit. We'll zoom into a few little pieces and parts of that when we get the tailgate down. Sorry to kick the tripod there. We're gonna zoom right in over here. Oops, maybe we won't. There we go, we'll zoom in right over there. And you can see you've got some tie downs in the corners there. You've got some ability to stick, you know, some wood in there to keep some separation and that kind of thing. Not an overly advanced bed here. There are some holes in the center there, which you can screw through to the frame there. You can see a little better in the center of your screen right there. So you've got some options to attach things down here. And I believe these are also pop-out accessories for Yamaha's accessories. So you've got ability to tie things down where you need them. Big thing is, like I said, 600 pounds of weight in here. It is a dump bed with the assist that makes it nice and easy, and you got the tailgate on the back if you need to drag things over the back. Now we talked about some of the things just below this bed, so let's zoom out for a second. Next shot you're gonna see is just below what we're looking at right now. I am gonna put the tailgate up for a second though. So looking just below the tailgate, on video some of you are probably going to question the location, which is the dead center of your screen here. If we zoom in, of the backup camera there. I don't think it's going to be a real problem. I'll tell you why. A lot of people are going to question it because you've got the exhaust pipe there, the you know, exhaust in behind here. There is a metal shield and then the plastic shield that's connected, and there is some space in between there. So it doesn't seem to me like it's going to be a problem. What it really does though is give you the advantage of having the tailgate down, still keeping that view there, and giving you some option to see behind you. And that's gonna help, especially if you ever wanna hook up a trailer here. You've got 2,000 pounds of towing capacity, that's all there. The other thing I wanna show is the A-arms here. You don't really see those drilled out arms very often. So that is a really key piece here that helps keep the weight down, keeps the strength there. So again, just unique, well thought out pieces in this unit, but where it's really unique and well thought out is on the inside. So let's talk about that right now. All right, so as we take a look inside, there's some technology to show you up front, but I think people care about the spacing in the area in the back seat. So remember, I'm about 6 feet tall, no outside door handle here, so we're gonna reach in here, and we'll probably go wide angle in a second here, but I wanna show you the seats there. So on this particular side, the right side of the vehicle, you do have your fuel filler there. There's no detent to hold this door. I don't know that that really matters, but it does sort of swing. Now I am on a bit of an angle here, so that's part of it there. Not really a big deal at all, but inside here, there's a lot of unique details. So why don't we just, actually, we'll show you the handles first. First of all, the handles, a lot of competitors are only going to stick a bar here for you to hold on to, usually a metal bar, sometimes wrapped. This is really grippy rubber, so you've got good areas for your guests or your passengers to hang on to. And you can see that sort of ergonomic design to the handle. So kind of a nice, oops, playing with my Steadicam here, kind of a nice design there. We are going to go wide angle here just to give you a little bit more view. The other thing that you probably can't see is this panel there is on an angle and then it's flat. So that's going to sit naturally where your feet do. Overall, the seats, I'm going to tell you in a second, they are very comfortable. Nice tall headrest here. So again, for even a tall person, you're still having some headrest for your helmet there when you're sitting in them. So let's just jump in. We're going to go wide angle, stay wide angle here. Going to hop up in. You can kind of see that floor. There is a speaker back here for this model that does have a stereo here. How are my knees? Well, this seat is, you know, all the way back, and you can see at 6 feet, I still have some room. I'm not gonna bash my knees on there because of the way I can place my legs. I can brace myself with my feet on that angled floor. So although it's a little closer than some other designs, remember, this isn't quite the overall wheelbase. It's perfectly fine for a 6-footer back here. Now, speaking of being a 6-footer back here, you've got some extra things back here. You've got this push button here. This is a gasket sealed area that is very, very deep in there. And I believe this is a USB port. Yep, USB regular A, so USB A port right there with, I believe this thing will be glow in the dark is my guess, just to help you see it. But it is a waterproof cover that pulls off and the gasket seal there. So you've got that down there for the backseat passengers, and it is a quite deep one. Of course, the 2 cup holders, that's pretty standard cup holders, but then you also have this extra storage space up here where you can put some extra things in, and it also has a gasket seal there, sort of rubber gasket seal. So I'm not claiming that these are fully waterproof, but they certainly make an effort to make them water resistant. Taking a look at seats here again, 2-tone, nice color seats there. Both passengers again have the grab handles, and because of the way the bars are set up, you have a great visibility here with that dipping down kind of bar, so you can really see out this very well. Now, one thing I will do, closing this up, again, we're trying to look into the sun here. This is a very low seat height. In fact, my hip is almost at this point here, so it jumps up a little bit, but you really feel out in the open. Now, not insecure, because again, you've got this piece by my shoulder here, which is keeping my shoulder in, kind of a weird angle to show you on camera, but you really feel out in the open here. So again, taking a look at the other side, you can kind of see better. If my butt is there, my kind of waist goes up to there, just another inch or 2 up to there. And then this is a very open feeling. So we're gonna see a boat go by here, and McLean's of course sells boats as well. and doing some winterization right now. But you can see here, you feel secure because your shoulders are gonna hit this on a turn, but you still have a good view out, which I think is really, really good. You can feel very claustrophobic in these, and this is not the case with that. So now let's take a look at the front, because there's a whole lot to show you there. All right, driver's side into the sun. We're gonna show you what we've got here. Again, I am wide angle, so some of the views are gonna be skewed a little bit. Again, door handle on the inside. If you don't like that, then it is what it is. But again, I kind of see how that could work. So seats, again, very high, very square seating, both front and rear. You've got your dead pedal here. All this is pretty standard. Speaker in there. We know this one's gonna have a stereo, obviously, but in here is really where you start to get some unique things. So first of all, let's just take a look at the basic controls before we even turn on the dash. Let's go all the way in here. Turf mode with your two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and differential lock. Turf mode, of course, not gonna rip up your grass if you're driving around your property, so it's allows that. It's just, you know, it's just better. You guys know what turf mode is. I won't go into a long explanation. Headlights right there. The switches here, they feel really good. I want to point that out that there's some plasticky feeling switches on some of these things, and this one's not that. So we're zoomed in still here. Your key goes in the side of the steering there. Of course, this is tilt telescopic. And then I want to show you the sport, trail, and crawl modes right there. Transmission of this is a CVT. Yamaha brags about how it is the toughest CVT, or one of the toughest CVTs out there. So really, they spend a lot of time worrying about how this is going to be. So sport, trail, and crawl modes in there. And then you've got some kind of cool buttons down here. So we'll kind of zoom out in a second to show you where all this stuff is. You've got your electric power steering, high, standard, and low assist. And then you've got the suspension. Remember I talked about suspension? You've got, on some of them, you have like a manual adjustment on all four corners, 24 clicks. Try remembering how many clicks you went in and out on the trail. This is simple. You want to be comfortable? Go comfortable. You want to be in the medium? Go medium. You want to have firm shocks? Go firm. Simple, simple stuff. If you're going to have adjustable, might as well do electric and make it super simple for you. There's your winch control and lots of places to put in other controls down there. So, taking a look back out to sort of a standard view, let's go full wide angle here. Now you have a screen here and you have a screen here. This one's not huge, but it's placed well toward you. Let's turn the vehicle on. I'm gonna start it up. Gonna have it run the whole time we're doing this. All right, couple things I love. The dash tells you a lot. It is a little small, and to be honest, it's a little busier than I would like. Now, I don't think that's gonna bother the owner. So you can see your drive mode, it's in the T. So drive mode T, that's a trail mode. That's that button we showed you right over there on the right. So you can see your drive mode, you can see your transmission is in the medium. That's why it's got an M. You can see your rear is locked, and you've got, so we can put it into the turf mode for a second, and you'll see that it's unlocked, right? Then you can go four-wheel drive, and it comes up. It'll lock in a second because it's open because of the steering. But anyways, you've got all the controls there. You got a tachometer in there. You got fuel gauge, temperature gauge, power steering. You can see. So at a glance, you can tell everything that's going on here. I find it to be busy, but once you get used to it, you know what's going on. Now there are other controls. We're going to save that for a future video here, or other sections of the screen. You've got all the controls up your sides. You can adjust and select everything there. What I want to show you is over here. This is the other screen. It is bigger, it's further away from you, so it doesn't look a whole lot bigger. Obviously the navigation, obviously pitch and roll is shown right there. Again, a lot of things down here, so you can see different screens there for all your different things. The big one I want to show you is the backup camera. You don't have to have it in reverse to show the backup camera, but like a car, if you do put it in reverse, you gain the backup lines. Do they turn with the vehicle? No, they do not turn with the wheel. It's one thing to check, but if you put it, I just keep it in neutral there, you can pull up that camera at any time, see what's going on behind you. Different home screens you can go to. So again, the electronics of this, we can show you the difference, but you've got cell phone connectivity, you've got compasses, you've got GPSs, you've got stereo in there, you've got all kinds of things. And what I like about this, as we go wide angle again, is all of this is very easy and intuitive to understand and to use. So down here, we showed you the controls there with the extra dummy switches there. You want extra stuff, you got extra switches there, you can put them in. Transmission, easy to shift on this. Sometimes they really jerk into gear. This one's easy to shift. A nice rubber handled, so rubber feeling, rubber handled parking brake that's well located. Seats, of course, are comfortable. And we showed you in the back, the same idea as in the back, you have in the front here. So you have an extra little space there for storage there, as well as the glove box out front there. So lots of little storage bits. And again, I want to emphasize, now you can maybe see it better, my knee is almost level, like maybe just an inch or so up. So you really have an open feeling to be able to look out, and that's one thing this does. The windshield is close to you, which I kind of like. I feel like that protects you better when you want the windshield. It also gives you a better view out the front, which is again harder to show on camera, but you can sort of lean out here. Now my shoulder is being blocked by that shoulder piece here, but I can lean out here and really have great visibility. So it almost feels ATV-like in its overall visibility and overall maneuverability. You've got the big mirror on the inside here, which I really like. I don't like the mirrors on the outside that I can catch on the trail, but obviously you can put that kind of stuff on. So this thing is already fully equipped, able to add all kinds of accessories that you would want to add, but everything that's in this feels like quality, feels like it works well. And the thing that I like, even though I haven't shown you the dash, all of this is simple. It's simple to work, simple to use, even little things like the adjustable suspension. 3 settings is all 99% of us are ever gonna need to make it drive the way we want it to drive. 3 settings with your power steering, you can set that up as well. Really, 3 drive modes here to sport, trail, and crawl. 3, 3, 3, everything's 3, right? It all makes good sense and it's all easy to use. So let's wrap up by talking about who this is for. So let's talk about who this is for. This is for someone who wants to spend a little bit extra money but get a whole lot. Somebody who wants one vehicle to do it all, and it really does that well. Like I said, the wheelbase is not crazy long, so it gives you that trail capability. If you want to take 4 people, you're taking them in comfort, but you're also taking them securely. It handles well enough to have fun when you're driving, and unless you're buying like a full utilitarian type unit, you want to have some fun out on the trails, out on the property, out on wherever you go. This one's going to be able to drive and have fun. And it's also gonna be able to take somebody who's not used to going on a side-by-side, not used to going on an all-terrain off-road vehicle, and still feel secure, safe inside. They feel like they've got a good grip on what's going on. They're secure in their seats, shoulder belts all the way around, so you've got that going on as well. But you also need to have something that is good at doing the work you need to do. And if you're gonna do the work you need to do, having 600 pounds of carrying capacity there, 2,000 pounds of towing capacity. Even I noticed like the backup camera, you can actually see the treads on the wheels. So if you're out in the trail and you're kind of stuck, you don't need a spotter to back this thing up a little tiny bit. So you've got something here that is super versatile and super unique, and it has a little extra wheelbase, but it gives you everything with that. So in my mind, this is one of the most perfect units to have for someone who wants something that kind of does it all. Gonna say goodbye to a boat in the background there. They're working around me. Busy day here on Halloween 2024. So there's my review of this Yamaha big long name RMAX4 dump bed 1000cc. Barely even talked about the engine, didn't talk about some of the technology. If those are things you want to know more about, let me know in the comments below and we'll come back to it and go through some of the things in depth about all the things that you want to know. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.